Hey everybody, and I am here again with Spellbinders, and this time we are looking at products from the Big Great Wonderful World collection by Sharyn Sowell. So these are great dies. I mean, these are just great for silhouettes. If you are that silhouette person, these are perfect. But just because they're silhouettes doesn't mean they have to be done in black. So I'm going to show you a couple different things. I'm going to be working with Love and Flowers, and the other one is Peaceful Garden, and that's where I'm going to start. So I cut 2 pieces of cardstock. Now this card that I'm making is going to be a little larger, so it is going to be a 5.5 by 5.5 card base. So remember, when you do that, you can make your own envelopes with that, and there may be more postage required. So looking at the different papers, you saw I flipped through, and since I cut 2, one from black and one from craft, and that was Desert Storm, you can get 2 completely different looks. So because I want to use the papers that I'm using are coming from the Spellbinders paper pad watercolor, which, yeah, I'm tearing right through this. It is an awesome paper pad, and I'll have that linked down below. But just the watercolors are beautiful, and they're perfect. If you don't want to watercolor, you have no interest in it, you can still have a watercolor background by using these. So again, it could be a quicker way to make your card and let your die be your focal point. So that's the beauty of that. So you could see with the 2 colors that I used too, if I had the craft on top, it looked different. If I had the black on top, it stood out against this panel. So that's what I'm going with, but I am going to accent with that first paper that I had pulled up. That panel that I'm working on, the watercolor, the one that looks like the ocean with the sunset, that's what it reminded me of. That piece was cut to 5.25 by 5.25, so that when I put the strip down below, I was able to just trim right up onto that edge. I'm going to set my focal die cut right above where the 2 pattern papers are missing so that it's straddled. And I'm going to cut a this is like a 5/8 of an inch wide banner strip, because I am using a die set from Spellbinders to give me the Best Wishes sentiment. These are beautiful fonts, and again, I will have them linked below. Very, very dainty, but they give you a pretty big impact. And I know in that set you get Best Wishes, congratulations, and I believe happy birthday. So it's perfect for all occasions. So I'm just going to set that in place, and I wanted to still stay with the black and the craft because that again is where the focal image is. I didn't want to pull out any of the colors from the pattern paper that I'm using because I already have enough of that. And even though that's a big focal point, I still wanted to accent those pieces, if that makes sense. So after I have those layered, and I did just kind of offset them a little bit so that craft, it doesn't make the black so wah, you know, like, hello, I'm here. It kind of, in a way, will tone that down, but keep it standing out. If I just had the black there, it wouldn't have looked dimensional. It would have laid flat, which is normal as I'm clapping my hands there. Yeah, yep, that's what you heard, because I talk with my hands. This way, it just gave it some dimension. I'm going to add the banner, the sentiment banner, towards the bottom left-hand side. And then I'm going to come in with something that is always in my arsenal, and that is my white gel pen. So one of my must-haves, and that video is coming soon, I know you've all been waiting for it, is white gel pen, black Faber-Castell Pitt pen. Must have those 2. So, make a note. So I'm just going to add some highlights throughout this. just to give it, again, some more shape. The craft in the back offset gives it that initial dimension. This is going to add just a little bit more to help that come up off of it, off of that page, to give it more dimension. And again, it doesn't have to be anything specific. I am not worried about where the light source is. I'm not worried if I'm all doing these all on the left, all on the right. I'm just adding highlights. I know that's horrible to say, but I just don't. I do not worry. You can see the boy has the highlights on his left and the girl has them on the right. I just don't worry about that. And it's okay. You don't have to. Just remember that. All right, for the second card, I'm pulling out a piece of pattern paper again. This is going to be a standard A2 size card, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and as always, it's going to be a top folding. So I cut that piece of paper to be 4 inches by 5 1/4. I loved that pattern paper because there's my sentiments. Love you, happy, cherish, always, memories, perfect, just us. It's right there. So I grabbed a piece of deep maroon. It's I think it's Razzleberry by Stampin' Up. Might be. I could be wrong. And I cut that because it was perfect for that. And I used the deckled edge by Spellbinders frame. I love that. It's, again, it's like all the other ones, but I do. I just love that look. It's a teared look without actually tearing the paper, but if you don't have it, tear your paper. It'll give you that edge. But I just wanted them to sit directly, this little boy and girl, to sit directly on that panel. But I did not want that panel, as I throw the piece of paper across, because I always do it in every video, I did not want that piece to truly stand out. So I did go with a gray. I went with a very soft color. So anything pale, you know, pale peach would have been fine. Pale pink would have been fine. But just something very pale. Okay. I did use my vintage photo. It definitely comes out. Craft cardstock and vintage photo hit in when it comes to the month of December for me. So I went around the boy and the girl, and I went around that deckled edge just to give it a little bit of dimension. And I propped those up using my double-sided foam tape. I pulled out some jute twine. This is actually hemp. This is how I painstakingly tie a bow. So if anybody wanted to see that look, yeah, my finger's getting better. You can see how the bandages are coming down. I am so sorry for that look. It's getting better. You're actually going to see in upcoming videos soon that it's gone. I don't have to cover it up anymore. But I'm so sorry for how that looks. That's how I tie a bow. And so that's why I very rarely show it. This actually went pretty well. So I was pretty surprised. I'm going to adhere the double bow that I just made using a glue dot. And I used my Spellbinders tool in one just to set that in place. And then I just wanted to attach that below the little tiny flower heart. But to also keep it rustic at the same time. So these are the two products that we made. And again, we were using products from the brand new collection, Big Great Wonderful World by Sharyn Sowell. So I do hope you go and check that out. Of course, all of the products that I used will be linked down below, along with just a link to the Spellbinders blog, their gallery. They have some wonderful inspiration. That's one of my favorite things. Even when you purchase something, you get inspiration with that. Sometimes when we look at things, we're like, what do I do with that? But they are really, truly helpful when it comes to that. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you leave those down below as well, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up and make sure you subscribe. There is so much coming out in this month alone. I know everyone has been saying you're going to go through withdrawal when it comes to the new year. Yes, I promise. We may start a support group, but this is just my way of saying thank you to everybody that watches my channel, that gives me support. and continues to support me. So this is my way just to bombard you with all kinds of videos and possibilities and wonderful products that should be in your stash. I hope everyone is having a great day, but always remember what's most important to me every day. Always be creative.